Well, good evening, ladies. Apologize for the delay. I was having some issues connecting to the proxy here. Welcome, ladies, to the YL OP NET. This is Catherine, AC4YL, Net Control for this evening's net. We meet every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on the Echolink ALARA Conference node. Be sure to invite all YLs you know to join us. We ask that only YLs or female ham radio operators check in and participate. The purpose of this net is to encourage you to become and stay active with amateur radio, help each other enhance our operating knowledge and skills, and have fun. During the net, be sure to join us in the NFARL Do Drop In chat room by opening any web browser and going to nfarl.dodropin.org. Just put your name -- call sign in the box and then click Log In. YLs who would like to check in, please give us your call sign, name, and current location. And don't forget that there is a 3 to 4 second delay when transmitting through Echolink. This is Catherine, AC4YL. We will now begin taking check-ins. Please call now.
AE7MB, Margaret, Battleground, Washington.
Okay, well, good evening, Margaret. Not hearing anyone else yet, but I think I'm transmitting. My Echolink is acting strange, so hopefully it's going out. AC4YL here, so welcome, Margaret, AE7MB out there in Washington. Do we have other YLs who'd like to check in? Please call now.
W1AYL, Ann, New Hampshire.
AC1EW, Alicia, Massachusetts.
VE3 VHG April in Welland, Ontario, Canada.
Victor Alpha 3 Whiskey Hotel Uniform, Carroll in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada.
This is KI4 SBK Kathy in Cumming, Georgia.
Okay, very good. So far, also joining us is Ann, W1AYL, New Hampshire, Alicia, AC1EW, joining us from Massachusetts, April, VE3BHG, joining us from Ontario, and Carol, VA3WHU, also joining us from Ontario, and Kathy, KI4SBK, joining us from Georgia. All right. I see a few more YLs have popped in, so please go ahead and check in if you like. This is AC4YL.
KW1YL, Brenda, New Haven, Connecticut.
All right. Also joining us is Brenda, KW1YL in Connecticut. Good evening, Brenda. I do see Rosemary, KB4RM, also here with us in Texas. And Susie, N8CGM, I see you in here too in Ohio. Good to see both of you gals. You might be grabbing dinner or something in between. Completely understand that. We do have you in the log, so no worries. Enjoy your dinner or relax and sit back and listen to the net. No worries there. All right. Just check my list. Also, we have the K4LYL repeater in Bedford, Virginia. Do we have any YLs or female ham radio operators who would like to check in from Virginia this evening? Okay, not hearing anyone there, but hopefully if you're out there listening, we're glad you're here with us as well. So thanks for joining us. All right, I think that's everybody on the list. I see KC9ZHV Lauren is connected, so we'll say good evening to her as well in case she is here in spirit. And I think that is everyone that we have thus far. I'm sure we'll have some more folks pop in and join us. As per usual, Melanie is here as well. With me, we're hanging out together, so here we go. Good group this evening. Nisi just joined, so let me get Nisi in here. Good evening, Nisi, in Massachusetts. And good. All right, so I think that's everybody for now. All right, so nice group this evening. Hope everybody's had a great week, and it's nice to see everybody here with us. And so what we're going to do tonight is just kind of go through the check-ins and let you gals have a chance to come in and say hello to everyone and tell us what you've been up to over the last week, and if you have any ham radio plans for any events coming up, either ham fests or activities you plan on participating in, whether it's going to a park and activating or playing radio from home during a contest or whatnot. So let's see, first on the list is Margaret, AE7MB, which is good because, Margaret, I apologize for missing you last week. I know you were a short time and I didn't get to you. I meant to go to you first last week and missed that before you had to step away. So, Margaret, how have you been? What's going on your way? AE7MB, AC4YL within a group.
Good evening, ladies. Well, let's see. Last week, 3 of us went to Newport, Oregon, which is on the beach, for 3 days for a little mini vacation and to celebrate decade birthdays. And then I got home Thursday, and 20 hours later I was on the road again to my brother-in-law's memorial. So it was a roller coaster of emotions last week. This week I'm just kind of recuperating from all of the activity last week. It's a really quiet week. Not too much going on, just the regular nets that I usually inhabit. And so that's about it for here. I kind of like being dull. So I'll turn it back to you, Catherine. This is AE7MB over to AC7UH. Oh, I'm sorry. Wrong call sign. AC4YL.
Okay, well, very good, Margaret. So glad you were able to get away for a mini vacation at least, but sad that you had to come back to those arrangements. But glad to have you here with us this evening, as always, and glad we were at least able to catch up and that things haven't been too crazy this week after all that emotional up and down for sure. So. But it's always good to hear from you, and glad you're hanging in there and doing well and staying busy, at least getting a little downtime in there. That's important. So very good. Let me pause for a reset to see what my Echo Link is doing. Stand by just a moment. Okay, I think it's working better now. Yeah, there we go. I don't know, my Echo Link is acting strange today. Sometimes when I transmit, it's supposed to put that little arrow up there, and for some reason mine wasn't doing it earlier, and it is now, so I don't know. It's going to be one of those evenings, I guess. All right, very good. So also, what I thought we'd talk a little bit about tonight is some contesting. There's a cool event coming up this weekend. It's the North American Single Sideband Sprint. We're going to talk a little bit more in detail about that particular event as well as contesting in general. But what I'd like to do as we go down the check-in list is I'd like to know if you have ever participated in a contest, or you know, kind of what your feel is on contesting. Do you enjoy doing it, or, you know, it's perfectly okay if it's not really something that, you know, a ham activity that you like to do as much. There are certainly a wide variety of amateur radio activities to do. So we'll go back to Margaret here real quick. Margaret, have you participated in contests before, and what kind of is your take on them? Any experience in there that you want to share with the group here, or not really your bag? That's fine too. A7MB, AC4YL with the group.
Okay, I've participated in a few contests. It's not really my cup of tea, and my OM enjoys doing it, so I just let him have the ham shack, and I just sort of stay in the sidelines. Sometimes he'll bring me in, and if somebody needs a contact, why, I'll make a contact. But I just enjoy rag chewing mostly. Over.
All right, very good, Margaret. Well, thanks. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with, you know, if you don't, for those of you that aren't really into contesting, that's perfectly okay. And so Margaret enjoys rag chewing. And for those of you that aren't familiar with the expression rag chew, it's basically just getting on the air and chatting and having laid-back conversations. So cool. Well, thanks, Margaret, for sharing. And I think it's very cool that you at least get on if somebody needs a contact. That's great. That's good ham spirit there. Awesome. Okay. So next up, we'll go to Ann, W1AYL in New Hampshire. Ann, how have you been? What you been up to? And what activities have you been involved in? And any ham radio-related stuff coming up that you'd like to, that you're looking forward to? And then you can tell us about if you have ever participated in a contest and kind of what your take is on amateur radio contesting. W1AYL, AC4YL with the group.
W1AYL. Thank you, Catherine. I've been working on trying to make contacts with my new Ultimax 100 antenna, and I haven't been super successful, but I had a good experience in that I tried to get onto a net, and the net controller was hearing part of my call sign, but he wasn't hearing very well, and he was saying, I hear a W1. So I took it upon myself afterwards to email the man because I had his email, and he was so gracious and encouraging, and he forwarded my email to a man in Atlanta who gave me all kinds of pointers. So we're going to make some changes with the antenna to try and improve it based on some of his pointers. And then apparently another man who was in Massachusetts did hear me, and he sent me a QSL card, which surprised me. So it was really nice seeing the friendliness and the helpfulness of the people, the other hams out there. And so hopefully soon we can adjust the antenna and see if we can improve it. As far as contesting, I tried the November sweeps last year. It was a good experience, but I kind of find it a little stressful. Some of the people are very intense. One man in Nevada couldn't hear me that well, and he actually started swearing, and because he had given me the contact information, and then he wasn't able to hear mine, and he was getting kind of wound up. So that's probably not my favorite thing, but I poke around in it sometimes just to try and make contact here and there. So that's about it. W1AYL, back to the net, AC4YL.
Okay, very good, Ann. Well, first off, hats off to you for you guys getting your Ultimax 100 up in the air at least and making some contacts. That's a start, and then of course, if you're getting good SWR, that's good. And obviously, you're getting out, albeit limited. And here's the other thing too: is band conditions aren't the best either. So, that can certainly play a role, and which band you are at which time of day makes a difference as well. But I think it's really, really cool that an OM that you were able to contact got you in touch with someone else to help you out. So I'm curious, being down here in Georgia, who you were able to work with to get some ideas for improving your antenna situation there, and I hope that works out. So I'd like you to let us know what adjustments that were suggested. You don't have to do it now, but and how that works out for you when you guys make some changes there. Would love to know how you were able to get that up and going and improving. And you're absolutely right. The ham community is amazing. There's so many people that are right there willing to help you. All you have to do is ask. There's so many really smart people in this hobby, and all different kinds of backgrounds and experience levels in so many areas of the hobby. It's amazing. So, I guess the takeaway from that is if you are interested in a particular aspect, say emergency service, find somebody in your area that loves that aspect, loves emergency service, because not only can they help you learn more about it and how it works, but their enthusiasm also can really help, and you can really tell whether that's an aspect of the hobby that you enjoy, not particularly. So, and that's true with any aspect, contesting, mobile operating. Don't be afraid to ask hams out there. They're more than willing to help you when you have questions. Let me pause for a reset. So along with that, from my personal experience, I know that when I was first getting my setup started and just got started in the hobby, and I found the club that I'm a member of now, the North Fulton Amateur Radio League, they have a group of Elmers that help in different areas, and so they were gracious enough to help me figure out what antenna would work best where I was living at the time, and even came out and kind of checked out the backyard and put some ideas together and actually got an antenna design together, told me exactly what parts I needed to get, what pieces of what materials I needed to acquire, and suggestions on where I could get those, and then helped me put the antenna together and put it up in the air and then test it. I mean, how cool is that? Without their help, I could have done it, but it would have taken me quite a while to to get there. So I'm sure that others of you here on the net can share similar experiences of getting some help from hams and doing different things. I'm going to pass it over to Melanie here, who has a comment. Go ahead, AG4YL from AC4YL in the group.
Thank you, Catherine, AG4YL here. I had a comment. For Anne regarding her comments, and I got the contest bug at Field Day, believe it or not, on the GOTA station, and that just I was done. That was it for me. And a few months later, I borrowed a radio from the club, HF radio from the club, and just kind of I went out there on my own and did my own DX, because I'm one of those people that likes to succeed or fail. You know, I kind of want to do it on my own. I don't want anyone else to know. So, you know, I sat on my own, the radio up on a kitchen table, and a makeshift antenna out there, and sort of, you know, pass or fail. I kind of wanted to do it. I don't know, maybe I just get too much pride. But anyway, so I wanted to comment on a couple of things. You have an Ultimax, and I know from reading a lot of the comments, and Dawn, W84YL has an Ultimax antenna, which she loves, but I looked at them myself and was reading a lot of comments about them and about the owner and his support, and he encourages, he'll work with hams from all over have commented. Yeah, I sent him emails, and I sent him photos, and we even got on the phone, and he will help you like get your antenna maximized. He knows his antenna and his products very well, and he'll help you optimize it. So if this is more feedback, not to say there's anything wrong with the feedback you've got, but that's cool if you say, do you see anything in these pictures that I could do better? You know, from making sure it's, you know, a foot away from any metal gutters to all kinds of stuff. He's got a real eye for it. He's very good about getting your SWR down quite low. Let me pause to reset. Okay, AG4YL returning. And the other comment, as far as contesting goes and having somebody get quirky because he can't hear you and wound up, of course, it depends on where you are in the contest, and you know, toward the beginning, toward the end. That's not my personal typical experience at all. You'll get some like that won't work with you, but more times than not, you'll get ones that'll work with you because they want it as bad as you do, and it's not like, oh, I just want to get your points in the log or get your call in the log. In my experience, a lot of hams out there are just like you are. It's kind of like that challenge. It's like, yes, I finally got it, you know, and they're just overjoyed about doing it as well, no matter how long they've been doing it. That's where the norm, in my experience. The November sweeps is a fantastic contest. I love it very much. And, you know, when I listen a lot, I listen to a lot of their exchanges. I listen to how they work the bands, and I kind of know by their tone and their responses to other callers, kind of what their personality is behind it. Some of them do get kind of wound up, but I've learned really just not to even take it personally. As I said, more often than not, I have had really great experiences with other hams out there working with me and just wanting to complete the contact as badly as I did, and really I haven't felt the stress very much on it. So please, don't, just breathe and just chalk it up to they're having a bad day or they're not making their QSOs. It's definitely not the norm. You'll find more people that are are much more cooperative and happy. Good luck in getting your antenna all tuned up and being able to make those awesome contacts. I just kind of want to throw that comment in there about the Ultimax owner. He's very receptive and will work with people a lot. That's all I've got. I'll send this back to Catherine in Net Control. This is AG4YL.
All right. Very good. Well, thanks, Melanie, for those additional comments. That's great. In fact, you hit on some really good points, and you're right. I've never run into somebody that has done that. I've participated in several contests and field day. Although once in a while you will run into somebody, and it could also have been he was frustrated with his equipment or himself because he's trying so hard to copy you and just couldn't, and really wanted you in his logs. So it happens sometimes, and so that's no worries there. But if you have any interest still in contesting, don't let that experience deter you from continuing on. Contesting is so much fun, and you were talking about sometimes it can be a little stressful. Absolutely. And here's what's kind of nice, what's helped me, because when I first started out getting involved in contesting, I thought it was stressful too. I was a little nervous, and it can be somewhat overwhelming. Well, how do I do this? There's rules, and there's terminology I'm not quite familiar with yet, or how do I know what the exchange is? I read the rules and I'm confused. And a tip there for those of you that are fairly new, or you're not sure about contesting, you haven't quite wrapped your head around how that works. The biggest thing that helped me was, like Tony said, you get on and you listen to other operators, and you find the ones that you can tell, the ones that are big contesters, because they just go through those QSOs like nobody's business. But it really helped me understand the exchange part of it. Well, when do you say this and when do you say that, and how does that work? And you kind of get the idea of how it flows just by listening to other hams doing it before you actually start contesting yourself. And then what I did for me, the next step was I did hunt and pound. So I would find an operator, and they may be calling CQ, and let me pause for a reset real quick. And so I would tune around and I'd find somebody calling CQ. Now I wouldn't jump right on that right away. What I would do is I would wait, because I don't know how that operator contests or what their flow is. So I would wait until they worked one or two people. And then I go, okay, I'm going to go for it, right? And so I'd throw my call out. And they'd come back to me, and I had an idea of what I needed to exchange because I had listened to several other hams already doing it. So that made it somewhat easier. Another thing that worked for me is I would write the exchanges down. I would write other people's exchanges down, and I'd look back at the exchange and the rules and go, oh, this matches this. This is what a precedence is. This is what a check means, and this is how they flowed. Another thing that really helps is to have a good logging program that breaks it down for you. N3FJP is a great logging program that breaks it down for you when you use their specific contest logs, like November sweeps. It will only show you the information on the form that you need to exchange and put in your log. So it simplifies it for you, and in the bottom right is your information. So you plug it in the beginning, so you don't have to remember, oh, what am I supposed to say? It's right there on the bottom right, and you just go right from one section to the next, one box to the next of your exchange information, and you're done. It makes it so much easier and makes the whole contest experience most enjoyable. So those are some tips for you there. Hopefully that helps. I'd like to open it up to the group and see if anybody else has any other tips real quick or any other comments on this subject before we continue on going down the check-in list. I do want to welcome Maureen, the E3MIO, who's joined us from Ontario. We've also got Judy, KE7IXI, who's joined us from Arizona, and Yolanda, KM4AAQ, who's also joined us. And Nisi, by the way, had to step away for a meeting. She'll be back. So I saw her pop in and then leave, but she will be back in just a little bit here. So I wanted to say welcome to those ladies as well. So any other comments on contesting, tips, or anything else, please call now, AC4YL.
Hello, it's Judy from Arizona. I just wanted to say one thing. When I join in on contesting, I listen a long time, I do. And you just can't get too frustrated. Sometimes it takes a little bit to finally have somebody hear you out there. All the guys will be just going gun-ho, and then all of a sudden there'll be a man that'll say, hey, wait a minute. Okay, hold it. I think I hear a YL out there. And then the gentleman who's in charge will say, yep, you're absolutely right. I hear her. Okay, guys, I'm only going to take her. But really, you got to listen and kind of get the idea of how the contest is going. And I do a lot of writing down, too, and also having a good logging program. That really does help a lot. So I'm done talking, so I'll let someone else jump in. KE7IXI.
All right. Well, thanks, Judy, for coming in with those comments and your personal experience. You know, that's what makes the net so enjoyable. So those are some great tips, ladies, for those of you that haven't really jumped into contesting or have some interest, but you're a little nervous about it. You know, just go for it and have fun. It's just to have fun, relax, take your time, pace yourself. No big deal. All right, with that, let's see who is next. Alicia, AC1EW in Massachusetts. Good evening to you. We'd like to hear from you. What have you been up to? What's new? And any ham radio activities planned that you're looking forward to? And if you would like to say anything about your experiences with contesting. AC1EW, AC4YL with the group.
Hi, this is Alicia, AC1EW. I guess I've been dabbling quite a bit lately. I mean, I'm still new to all of this. I've only been a ham for about a year now, and I'm just fascinated by it all. I haven't yet entered a contest, but I'm thinking I may do that this weekend. Last weekend I was listening in on some of the European contests that were running, and I was fascinated by it, but I was intimidated, with the exchange of serial numbers, and so I've been, trying to study up on it a little bit so I could participate. Other than that, I went to the Boxborough Fest in Boxborough, Massachusetts. I think it was weekend before last, if I'm remembering right, which I found very helpful. So far, I've been using just a kind of a portable setup. I have a Yaesu FT991 radio. It's a 100-watt radio. I bought it with the idea that it would work both as a base station and something for an RV in the future, since we enjoy traveling. And so far I've only had an end-fed wire antenna. I can't really put up anything at the condo where we live, but last winter I had the wire running out a window to some trees behind. Worked okay, but been trying to find something that would still be portable, that it would work better. And I found at Boxborough an adapter to connect two ham sticks into a dipole antenna, and I've been playing around with that, mounting it on a a spider beam pull, and that's been quite effective so far, at least on 20 meters. Anyway, it's all new, and I'm just fascinated by this hobby. So back to the net.
Okay, very good, Alicia. Well, awesome. So, first of all, kudos to you for getting out there and trying new things. And, you know, you've licensed about a year. That's great. You're getting some time under your belt there and experiencing new things. And by the way, ladies, if Melanie or I can help you with contesting at all, let us know. Send us an email. Sometimes it's fun to have a ham on the other end to kind of guide you through. If you're thinking about participating in a contest, come on in the net. The Thursday before the weekend of a contest you're thinking of doing, and bring your questions here. The gals here would love to help you and answer any questions and walk you through it. Even do a practice QSO or two right here on EchoLink if you like, to get you more comfortable with the contest. So that's not a problem, and glad you were able to listen in and kind of get an idea of how that goes. And glad you had a good time in Boxborough. I know Brenda and Ann and some of the other gals on here last week were telling us about their Boxborough experience and getting to hang out with the other YLs there. That's awesome. As far as an antenna setup, you can check out there's a lot of really interesting books that are available out there. You can check the Portable Antenna Classics from ARRL. There's also a Stealth Antenna Classics book as well that is written specifically for people that have challenges with what kind of antenna they can put up, either due to an HOA, you're in a condo, you're in an apartment, those kinds of things. The hamstick dipole or hamstick is a great option. Now, here's a tip. Go to Melanie's QRZ page. So go to QRZ.com and do a search for AG4YL. We did a hamstick dipole, and she has some tips and basic instructions on what we did and how to set that up that may help you out. Let me pause for reset. So you can check out her QRZ page, and there's some good information to make sure you get the right adapter for that. And I'm going to pass it to her in just a second so she can maybe do a quick overview with you on that and some quick tips. Another option, too, with the hamstick is a mag mount antenna on the car. If you get that hamstick tuned correctly and you get a good mag mount antenna, and Melanie and I did this actually with one of our National Parks on the Air activations, a couple of them. One where we had to do it really quick. It was at the Martin Luther King Memorial here in Atlanta. And so there was a lot of concern because it was one of those highly sensitive activation areas. So we literally sat in the parking lot, put the mag mount up with the hamstick, and ran off the radio in the car. And it actually worked quite well. We made quite a few QSOs doing that. So I'm going to pass it over to Melanie so she can briefly talk a little bit more about the hamstick dipole setup and tips for you there. AG4YL, AC4YL with the group.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Catherine. I appreciate it. AG4YL here. So on the hamstick dipole mount, I got mine from MFJ, and it's fortunate that we used that one because we didn't really know what we were doing at the time. I've since found that the MFJ dipole mount, which it doesn't matter what brand you use, I just happen to use the MFJ, and that one is insulated. It's got nylon insulators to insulate the right and the left, so you can have a balanced dipole This is actually really important. I didn't realize this till later, but I worked everyone from Australia to Iceland. I did like 75 unique DXCC entities on a 20-meter hamstick dipole. My QRZ page simply has a link to show you what the right one should look like. Some other manufacturers sell them and they're not insulated on the two sides. The MFJ dipole, they call it MFJ mini dipole mount. It's not expensive. The insulators make a difference. Then we bought a pair of 20-meter hamsticks because we thought that would be good and had some help in tuning them. You really need to have some kind of good antenna analyzer. I think we used one of the MFJ ones. Then I've since bought a Rig Expert analyzer, which I love, by the way. It's awesome. It's intuitive. It's easy to use. It's expensive as all get out, but I'll never look back. It was a lot of money, but it was well spent. And you just keep tuning those stingers. On the stingers on those dipoles, if you can't quite get a match because the stinger is just too long and you can't seem to get there, trim your stinger and you literally unscrew, take it out of there and cut both stingers the same amount and just do like an inch at a time. It takes a long time to tune up hamsticks and get the stingers just right. It is time well spent because once you have them tuned, you're good to go. Just leave the stinger locked in there and just unscrew the ferrule at the top from the hamstick, and you can store it. We use a couple pieces of Velcro tape to store the stinger to the hamstick, and with the ferrule attached, so you don't have to keep on returning it. We also marked it with a permanent marker just in case that stinger somehow moves in there, the sit screw gets loose or something. Then we can reset it to where it was because it takes some time to tune it. You do have to trim it. We had the help of a really great Elmer friend of ours, and he helped us and spent hours with us just playing with it and take it in, take it to the shop, trim the stinger, bring it back out, we'd stick it back up in the air. Your tuning will change depending on how far you have it off the ground, so try to put it up approximately where you're going to use it. We used a couple military poles, went to Home Depot, found a piece of PVC pipe that slipped down inside the top of the military pole and clamped the top of the adapter, the mini dipole mount, to that. Then just screwed those hamsticks in, screwed the stinger ferrule in the end, and off we went. You can also rotate it by turning the whole pole. I'm going to pause for reset, and we'll wrap this up on my end. Okay, G4YL here returning. It's a great setup. It can work very, very well for you, and you can turn it and tune it and have quite a good time with it. As I said, just don't get discouraged by tuning it. Spend some time and really get those tuned for the lowest possible SWR in the middle of the band that you're going to use. If you're going to be on sideband, look at the sideband and go right for the middle of the band. Yes, the dipole adapter. That's awesome. I'm reading it. Oh, the Rig Expert. I loved that thing. Yeah, there you see. You know exactly what you're doing. I don't even need to tell you about this. You know exactly what you're doing. This is perfect. Absolutely perfect. Yeah, you're right there, girl. You're right on it. It's absolutely perfect. You can make a lot of contacts. Also, make sure that I don't know if you've made a balun, but we had measure 18 inches from the, this is for anybody, not just for you, anybody, put a balun on that thing. You really need to. Keep the RF down off the, running on the jacket, running on the coax. Measure 18 inches down from the connector that you're connecting to your antenna. Put a little mark on there. Then wrap 18 feet around a 2-liter soda bottle. You can use other things. I have since discovered other things I won't go into now. But you can just take a 2-liter soda bottle, wrap it very tight around, and make sure it's touching. All the coils have got to go right next to each other all the way down, and wrap 18 feet around it. And when you get to the end, take the whole thing off with some ugly old duct tape and plug it into your radio, plug it into your antenna, and you'll have a perfectly operating balun. It will make a big difference. And it will be very helpful to make that balun. Very easy, 18 inches from the end, then wrap 18 feet right next to each other, and then off you go. So enjoy that. You've really got that. That thing, you can work the world with that. 40 meters is tougher because it's such a longer wavelength, so it's craziness. You can do it. Catherine had a great idea with the MIG mount. We also worked in Tuskegee. We did the Tuskegee activation for National Parks on the Air, sitting in their itty-bitty little parking lot, and threw that thing up, and I thought, oh man, this is not going to work. We're in the middle of a city, and all the buildings. Worked remarkably well and got a good activation out of it. So a good quality MIG mount. I like Comet. That's a good one. Diamond good, and just needs that 3824 mount threading on there. Screw that thing in there and just go with it. It's absolutely wonderful. For that, of course, you don't need a ballon. You get a big ground plane with your car. Just use the MIG mount as it is. That's basically the big comments I wanted to make. I love the ham-stick dipole. Works really well. You can turn it. Just be really careful and beware of electrical lines as per any antenna setup. That's all I got. I've run my mouth long enough. I'm going to send this back to Net Control. This is AG4YL.
All right, very good. Well, lots of good info. Thanks, Melanie, for doing a kind of a quick recap of that antenna setup. Now, on Melanie's QRZ page, she does not have she has a picture of the antenna, but this was before we put the ballon on that, because we had literally just finally got those ham sticks tuned. Fortunately, we had some great help from some friends in our club. Lori, K4UPI, and our OM Daryl, K4IGK, were wonderful in helping us getting those darn ham sticks tuned, because boy, sometimes it could be challenging. But we found we had a couple of other issues going on with some of our other equipment that was actually throwing our results off. So another great way to get some help from some local hams when you get stuck and you run into something you can't quite figure it out, to help you out. But she does have some information on what we did to put that antenna system together. And, of course, if you have questions after you look at her page, feel free to email her, ag4yl@arrl.net, or myself, ac4yl@arrl.net, or post the questions on the WildOpNet Facebook group, and we can answer them there so that all the gals that may have that question as well can see that. Okay. Any questions on that real quick before we go on down the check-in list? Please call now, AC4YL. Okay, very good. All right. Yeah, we're learning all kinds of stuff as we go down here. It's great to chat with you gals and find out what's going on. That's fun. Okay. As far as contesting. All right. So, suggestion, if you're new to contesting, you don't always have to start with a contest either. Special events are a great way to kind of familiarize yourself with doing exchanges without maybe running into somebody that's working them really, really fast and you're having a hard time keeping up. So another event that's coming up this weekend that we would recommend that you try out as you are kind of experimenting and getting your feet wet is the Maine QSO party. It's a state QSO party, and you can get on and work stations in the state of Maine, which is great because if you don't have Maine for your worked all state, you can get them in the log. You're more than likely to work somebody there during their QSO party. Now for Maine, let me just see if I can find their exchange is literally what they will give you is a signal report, 5.9 for example, and their county that they are in. What you give them, really easy, is a signal report, like 5.9, and what state you're in, or province if you're in Canada, or DX if you're outside of that. So simple exchange. Just give them, so like if if I was working somebody in Maine, it would be AC4YL 59 Georgia. That's it. That's all you have to exchange. Easy exchange. And you can get some practice on. Tune around, work several stations, and you'll hear them because they'll be calling CQ, Maine, QSO party, or CQ Maine QSO party, or CQ Maine QP for QSO party. You'll hear them, and you'll know who they are. So they will give you, their county. They may give you an abbreviation, so if you need the full county name, ask them. They'll tell you. So have fun. Get on the air this weekend. All right, let me see who's next on our list. All right, so next up is April, VE3BHG. So April, what have you been up to, ham radio or non-ham radio, and what activities are you looking forward to, up and coming, if any, and anything that you'd like to add about your personal experience with contesting?
VE3BHG, okay. Well, last Saturday, there was a special event with our club. Niagara Peninsula Amateur Radio Club is 70 years old. They elected to have the celebration in September. I don't remember exactly why, but all of the members of the club have a history book that was recently written. It was a great event with lots of food, and there were several charter members who were in attendance. One fellow, he was in a wheelchair, but some of them aren't very active, but there's one guy that comes to every meeting, and I found out he's 95 years old, and I thought, wow, good for you. And they named the Ham of the Year award after him, so henceforth the Ham of the Year is going to be known as the Jim Thompson Ham of the Year award. So I also met a couple of people that I had talked to over the air, it's fun to be able to put faces to the names sometimes. And then they say, well, you want to do coffee sometime? So I probably will. This weekend coming up, the 22nd, I'm going to be at the Niagara Falls, Canada Library, Public Library. My Elmer, or instructor, is doing a demo there, and he asked me to bring my computer and show people how Echolink works. So I seem to be one of the few people in the club that actually uses it on a regular basis. There's lots of guys in the club that have digital, and one particularly who has a DMR setup that I've been talking to off and on. So basically, that's what I've been up to ham-wise. I had Labor Day weekend, had my family, my little grandson, 7-month-old grandson, so anyway, that was fun. And Thanksgiving's coming up, and our Canadian Thanksgiving's in October, pausing for reset. I have mine set at 2.5 minutes. But anyway, oops, I guess I didn't wait long enough. Hope you still, whoops, hold on. Okay, I didn't wait for the conference. But yeah, it's been a lot cooler here too. So, and I think I hear rain. It's been quite the welcome break after all the hot, humid weather we've had here in Niagara. So anyway, yeah, it's been fun having family and ham family as well. I mean, when I stood up at the club meeting, I said how wonderful it was to have all the help. I finally met the fellow who had said via email that he's going to help me put up my R5 eventually when I get a radio that I can actually test it with. That's going to be fun. And so not a lot of plans, but I'm just getting back into the swing. So I'm looking forward to the fall. I'm looking forward to some events and this Echolink demo and so forth, because I only have my 2 meter, for which I recently got a headset that I need to test. And so that's basically it for me. So anyway, this is the E3VHG back to the net.
All right, very good. Awesome, April. That's great. Sounds like you got a good club there that's active and been around a while, and it's very supportive, and that makes a world of difference, especially when you are trying to learn new things, and it makes a world of difference to have a local club that helps. And I think it's great you're able to meet some of these folks that you've talked to over the air. That makes it even more fun, and great experience to actually put a face with the voice, as we say. So cool. I think it's neat. I didn't think about doing a radio demonstration at a library. That's a pretty cool idea. That's pretty neat. And I think it's cool that you'll be demonstrating Echolink. And I don't know if your repeater there in your area is on Echolink, but if not, you can certainly come on here to the ALARA conference if they aren't running a net at the time. If you don't hear any traffic going on here, I'm sure that they'd love to. You can use this conference if it's available to do that. And if once you get the times that you'll be doing that as well, you can post those on the WildOpNet Facebook group, anywhere, any of the other groups that you're on. The more, the better, to get the word out. I'm sure that some folks, if they're available during that time, would be happy to meet on Echolink and help you for a brief demo as well. Another option, if you aren't sure, you definitely want to make sure somebody's on there. Get somebody in your local club or there at the demonstration to get on Echolink on their phone and kind of go to their car or go somewhere else kind of out of sight to kind of get a real feel for how it works. You can do a direct connect to them, or you can go through a local repeater there if you have one that has an Echolink node connection. Another suggestion would be the Echolink Nifty Guide is a great tool too for anybody that needs some more Echolink tips. Let me pause for reset. Okay, so very good. And you'll have to let us know how that 2 meter headset works out for you that you picked up. That's awesome. So very good to hear from you, April. We appreciate having you here with us. Shirley VK5YL joins us from Adelaide, South Australia. So good, late morning, early afternoon for you on a Friday. It's good to see you here with us. We're just going down the check-in list, and we've had some great conversation on contesting and around the different things that the gals have been up to and doing, so that's great. So Yolanda posted a question in the Echolink chat about signal reports. So, and Margaret commented, so for most contests, if you can hear someone clearly, the exchange you the signal report that you give is 5.9 typically in contest situations. It's just easiest. But there are some sticklers that are like, I'm not giving a 5.9 if they're not a true 5.9, and so don't be thrown off if somebody gives you a different signal report, like a 5.7. But you could check out, there's some sites out there, Yolanda, that will list literally what each signal report is for, what the components are of a signal report. So if I can find one, I'll try to get it to you this evening. If not, I'll post it on the Facebook group. So look for it there, and we'll get a link. But you can, in the meantime, if you want to just kind of Google ham radio signal reports, you'll probably find something fairly quickly to answer the details and breakdown of what a signal report is. But if someone's loud and clear, 5.9 is your typical signal report, and especially in contesting, to keep it simple. April, the book is the Nifty Easy Guide to Echolink. Nifty Easy Guide. They do several guides. They have one specifically for Echolink. There's also one for HF operations. So if you gals are new to HF and you need some tips on that, there's a Nifty Easy Guide for that. Let me pause for a reset. Okay, Nifty Easy Guide to DX, not HF, sorry. But there's several nifty guides out there, but they did write one specifically for Echolink to help out. Let me see here. I wanted to go back real quick to I think it was Alicia that's in a condo. If you do a quick Google search, I just did this really quick. Ham antennas for your condo. Just do that. Type that in the search box, and you will find some YouTube videos from several hams. There's one from AF5DN Stealth HF antenna for your HOA. Yes, it can be done. eHam has an article on how to overcome some condo issues. Nashua Area Radio Club has condo living and ham radio, can it work? So there's a lot of great information you can find that will help you put together an antenna, and it does not have to be expensive, by the way. You can get an antenna that will work in your situation, very, very inexpensive. Keep in mind, however, if you do use an antenna inside, it will be what you might hear hams call a compromised antenna. You're not going to get phenomenal results necessarily with a compromised antenna, but it will get you on the air. And as one of our hams here in our local club loves to say, any antenna is better than no antenna. So just do a quick search. You'll find that you'll find some good information there. Okay, so we also have Alina who's joined us, KI7ZRG out of Oregon. Alina, would you like to come in and try to give us your call sign or anything else? I know you wanted to test your transmission real quick. So KI7ZRG, please go ahead from AC4YL and the net.
Hi, this is KI7ZRG. I am Alina, and last Thursday, or a couple Thursdays ago, I had trouble getting on the net at 7:30 because I was having technical difficulties. So just making sure that my transmission is okay for 7:30, because I'm also checking in on 7:30 for the MinnoNet. And I'm in 8th grade. I go to Gordon Russell, and I'm in the Gresham side of Oregon. And that's about it. So yeah, back to net.
Well, Alina, your audio is great, and you did a wonderful setup on Echolink. So kudos to you, girl, for getting that hooked up and going. And we are so glad to have you here joining us on this net this evening. It started about an hour and 7 minutes ago, so you have an idea of when it starts. You can come in any time. Don't get me wrong, I'm just letting you know kind of what our start time is. So you can come in anytime. The net will run for another about another 20 minutes here. So we love having you here with us, so feel free to come in every Thursday evening right here on the ALARA Conference. If you have trouble connecting to the ALARA Conference node, you can use NF4GA-R repeater as a backup. So if you have trouble, and some gals have issues connecting for one reason or another, you can use that as a backup connection. So just a suggestion there if you have trouble connecting in. But your audio is great. You got your microphone set up. It's beautiful. It's perfect. And we're really glad to have you here with us. So congratulations on getting your ham license. And it's great having you here with us. So very good. Let's see. Melanie had a comment in here. Oh, about the signal reports again. I wanted to jump on that comment. So Melanie said sometimes you'll hear 5.9 or 10, plus 10, 5.9 plus 20. That means your signal report is like really, really good. You've got a strong signal going in to them. And so if you hear that, don't let that throw you off. Just put it in the log as 5.9. That's fine. That's their way of letting you know you're coming in really, really well. Propagation is good from where you are to where they are. So awesome. Thanks, Melanie, for that comment. That's great. I forgot about that. So. All right, let me pause for a reset here, and we'll see who's next on the list here. All right, so let me catch up here. So April just went. So next up is Carol, VA3WHU. Carol, how are you doing, and what's new with you, and any ham radio activities planned coming up that you're looking forward to, and anything you want to share with the group on, have you had any experience with contesting? VA3WHU, AC4YL with the group.
Victor Alpha 3 Whiskey Hotel Uniform. Good evening, everybody. Yeah, I've been enjoying listening to everybody's conversations here on EchoLink tonight. Enjoyed this Thursday night now very much. Went to the London Ham Fest on Sunday the 16th of September. Was quite nice. Not a lot of stuff there, but just the atmospherics of going to a ham fest is always great. Regarding contesting, I always have issues getting on in contesting. Like, there's so many, the bands are so active and it's so hard to get on to different contesting sites, but I always try to listen and I always try to get in, and my husband or my OM will say, get in there, get in there, get in there, like this, and I'm like, I can't get in, there's too many people online right now, like it's really hard to get in and to get a break and to get, your voice heard. I do enjoy contesting. We took part in a contest by the Fort Myers Amateur Radio Club on the 29th of February. On the 29th of March this year, I got recognized on the W4LX is the call sign, the Fort Myers Amateur Radio Club, and they sent me a beautiful, I think I posted it on the YL Op Net page on Facebook. They sent me a QSL card and a beautiful certificate from the club that I have in a frame. So the Buckingham Gunnery Army Airfield, I was really proud to take part in that contest, and so other than that, contesting, it's tricky. It's hard for me to get on and to get a break and to get in, because the contesting's so active. Like, there's people that just are on amateur radio just for the fact that they like to do contesting. So for me, it's always a tricky. I love doing it. I'm a talker. And Brian says, oh, they always talk to women. Women always get to talk more. Women always get airspace more than men do. So if there's a lady on, they love to talk. So, and I said, well, it's getting on there that's tricky for me. So anyway, back to the group. Lovely to see everybody on here tonight. And as far as the temperature goes and the humidity, I've got the air conditioner running here in Hamilton. It's going to be 37 degrees tomorrow with the Humidex. That's about 98 degrees Fahrenheit. So, but then it's going to break for the weekend down to a normal temperature for this time in September. So back to the group.
All right, very good, Carol. Awesome. Sounds like you're staying busy, and it sounds like you guys decided to head out to that ham fest. I'm glad you did and had a good time. Yeah, sometimes, even though you don't need something, sometimes just the ride is nice to get there, and you know, you can just enjoy, like you said, the atmosphere. It's great. So glad you guys had a good time and got out and were able to go to that. And so glad you, I remember you posting that QSL card that you got earlier this year. It's always fun to get those. That is great. And thanks for posting that, by the way, too, and sharing that with the gals. And encourage anybody to do that when you get QSL cards. That's part of the fun of ham radio, right? So as far as, like, you know, getting in a contest when it's busy, real quick, does anybody have any quick tips on what works when you're trying to kind of break through a pile-up or even find a frequency? Does anybody have a quick tip or two on that?
AG4YL.
Please go ahead, Melanie.
Okay, yeah, real quick. I love contesting, and I get on all different kinds of things, and special event stations, and people that are doing, you know, KFS park activations and everything. And the best thing is I follow the DX Code of Conduct, and it's not just about, you know, being nice, following rules, and it's for DX. It's not about that. The number one thing on that DX Code of Conduct is I will listen, and listen again, and I find that that's most useful, listening to their cadence and what their cadence is. A lot of times they'll wait until, you know, there'll be an onrush of people coming in, and they'll wait for that straggler at the end. Sometimes they'll come right back to the first person they hear. Sometimes it varies. It's not always an equal formula. Patience is my best piece of advice. Just hang in there. You can usually break through. I also spent a lot of time learning my radio, learning how to use my microphone gain, learning how to use the compression, you know, whether or not to use processing and how much processing to use, how to use the meters. This is where, you know, reading the manual helped me out a lot to make sure that I had a good signal that's punching through. I also use a Heil headset with a contest element specifically that boosts those mid-ranges to help you break through. And it's a combination of things. It's not just how good your equipment is or anything. It's just a combination of things. But my personal experience has been listening to the cadence, having some persistence. Sometimes you just need to step back and back off, and waiting to see if they'll go by the numbers. And that brings up another thing. For those of you that are new to contesting, those that know what this is, I apologize, because you already know what this is. But when you hear somebody that's calling by the numbers, they'll ask for, they'll say, okay, I'm going to start calling by the numbers, which means they're going to ask for specific call numbers that's in your call sign, not necessarily your location. So if they say, I'm going to, all ones, one calls only, please. So if you have a 1 in your call sign, KA1ULN, for instance, Nisi would call then. Then they'll ask for some 2s, and we'll ask for some 3s, and then they'll ask for some 4s, and so forth and so on, all through there. That's really helpful in getting them, just listen for it, listen for the cadence, listen for them if they're going to call for the numbers, and just be persistent. If you don't get in, you don't get in. It's part of ham radio. But have a good time with it, and, you know, just relax. Sometimes you just need to move on. Sometimes I'll jot down the information I got, like their call sign and where they are on the frequency, and I'll go and hunt and pounce on another frequency somewhere. Then I'll come back later and see if they're still on that frequency, if they're still, you know, asking for calls, and then I'll get them after the pileup has died down a little bit. But, you know, the number one thing is have some fun, and just listen in for those that want to really make that contact. Just hang in there, and it's just about having fun. It's not about getting crazy. Just have some fun, have a good time, and if it's not working out for you, or if you're getting frustrated, move on and get somebody else, work somebody else. But that's all I have. This is AC4YL, Pat, back to Net Control.
Okay, very good, Melanie. Well, thanks for those tips. And some of the other gals were commenting about persistence really pays off as well. Right on there, Maureen. Very good. And just real quick, I posted a link for the RST system. Wikipedia breaks it down for you, for those of you that would like to understand more about how that works, what each piece represents. So real quick on a signal report, the ones you hear on sideband, the first number represents readability from 1 to 5, 1 being unreadable and 5 being perfectly readable. And then your strength is the second number, which in this case, again, in contesting, most of the time when you hear 5-9, the 9 is the strength level. Again, that's 1 to 9, with 1 being faint signals barely perceptible, and 9 being extremely strong signals. So if you're not sure what somebody's signal report is, usually you have a meter right there on your radio that will give you an idea of how the signal is coming in if you're really not sure what to give somebody. Shirley posted in here, somebody gave her a signal report of a 3-2. So what does that mean? Well, that means the readability was a 3. Which means she was readable with considerable difficulty. It was very, very hard to pick her up, but still able to pick her up somewhat. And strength 2, very weak signals. So basically, okay, I can hear you, I know you're there, I can make out what you say, but it's really, really hard to copy you. Okay, so that's a general summary of kind of what the 3x2 was, the 3-2 was. And now you have an idea of what, a signal report is. But more detail, I encourage you to look on that Wikipedia site to get more in-depth overview of what that is. Okay, so as I mentioned a minute ago, that's for single sideband or phone operation. You usually just get 2 numbers, 5-9, and sometimes, as Melanie had pointed out earlier, 5-9 over plus 10 over, or 5-9-10, 5-9 plus. That just means your signal is really great. So that's what that's with phone operations. Now with CW, there's a third number that's involved in there, and that's the tone. The tone, again, is also 1 to 9. And again, for more information on that, check out the Wikipedia page. It really breaks it down for you nicely and helps you understand how that works, okay? And Nisi mentioned in here too, data. You do give a signal report for data as well. So there you go. Okay. We are getting kind of close to the end of the net, and we still have a few gals here that we haven't gotten to. But I do want to mention real quick, Shirley posted in here, she's going to hang around after the net. If anybody wants to work the special event station, VI5 Marconi, she is going to hang around here, and you can work her right here on Echolink, and you can receive a QSL card, okay? So stick around for a few minutes if you can, and you'd like to work Shirley with that special call sign. That's awesome. Thanks so much, Shirley, for mentioning that. Do you want to jump on real quick and tell us what that station is all about? We'd love to hear from you, too. VK5YL, AC4YL with the group.
AC4YL, VK5YL. Thank you very much indeed, Catherine. And the other call is VI5 Marconi. I'll use that after the net finishes. I was so glad that I was able to use the special call on Echolink. I did check with the powers that be, so I'm legal. So I'm having a lot of fun with it. I've got the call until Friday next week. And I have been on the ANZANET, which is the Australia, New Zealand and Africa net, which operates every day on 14.183 at 0515 UTC. And I've had a lot of fun on there with the VI5 call. I'm actually getting through to America, and the 3x2 call was from California, but I've had much stronger results from there. And I can get through almost anywhere in the world except Europe and Japan are a bit hard for me because I've got a G5RV, which most of you know is attached at both ends and you can't rotate it. But it's a sort of circumcised G5RV. It's only about 90 feet long, I think my husband said. So yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with it. Apart from that, I had a nasty fall about 4 or 5 weeks ago. I am recovering, but slowly, very, very slowly. I won't be around for a while. I'm off to Tasmania in a couple of weeks, and for my lace making, so I'll probably be early November before I get back to you all. It's great to see some of my mates from the Minis Net on a Wednesday evening for Canada. There's Susie, there's Maureen, there's Margaret, and there's, I can't see the rest of the names. I've got a long list here, but they've disappeared off the screen. Anyway, it's great to catch up with you all, have fun with your amateur radio. That's the main idea. And thanks for letting me and Catherine take care, and we'll catch you further down the log, as they say. AC4YL, DK5YL.
All right, very good, Shirley. Well, wonderful. Thanks so much for joining us and offering to make exchanges with that cool call sign. In fact, gals, if you look that call sign up on QRZ, the entire thing, VI5 Marconi, you can get all the details about the special event call sign and what it's all about. And that's great, Shirley. I'm so glad you're able to jump in and use that. I'm sure that's been a really fun experience for you. I know me personally, when ARRL was celebrating their centennial, it was a lot of fun to be able to operate under a special event call sign, and boy, the pile-ups were fun. A lot of fun. So cool. Great to hear from you, Shirley, and really hope you recover well and take care of yourself there. Oh, no worries, Shirley. So yeah, the call remembers 100 years of wireless contact between the UK and Australia. So 22nd September 1918, first direct wireless messages from the UK were received in Australia. So that's the gist of the event. And again, more information you can find on the QRZ page for that call sign. So thanks, Shirley. Appreciate you being here, and well, stick around, gals, if you'd like to work her under that call sign. So, all right, so we have about 4 minutes left. For any of the gals that we haven't gotten to yet, if you're not going to be able to be on the net next week, please go ahead and throw your call out now, and we'd like to, pass it to you if you had any more comments on our topic this evening on contesting and your experience with it. And if you'd like to go ahead and jump in, we'll try to get you in before we close out the net. So if you're not going to make it on next week, go ahead and throw your call out, and we'll try to get to you real quick here. Okay, nothing hurts, so we'll just keep going in the list. Next up is Kathy, KI4SBK. So, Kathy, what's been going on with you? And I know we're trying to get something together hopefully soon with the Girl Scouts, hopefully before the end of the year. Well, the schedules just have been crazy. So I'll pass it over to you, KF4SBK, C4YL with the group.
This is KI4SBK. Thank you, Catherine. And I am really glad to be here tonight. I missed it so many times. Last Thursday, I was flying home from Arizona and Utah, where I escorted my mom so we could all celebrate her 90th birthday, which was awesome. On Tuesday, I went to the local club meeting and heard a presentation about radio science for amateur radio operators. And we heard about in Atlanta we'll have a ham fest in early November, and also Ham Jam, which is a thing the locals do on November 10, and we're going to have Jerry Ellsworth, and I bet some of you have heard of her. I hadn't heard of her before. AI6TK. I think that's going to be really cool. Contesting I haven't done much of. I did do one special event a couple years ago that was 13 colonies, and found it was really difficult for me to hear and make out what I was hearing. So that was kind of frustrating and not that much fun. So I haven't done contesting. I guess that's about it for me. Back to Net Control, AC4YL.
All right, very good, Kathy. Well, we're glad to have you whenever you can make it. And yeah, bummed didn't make it to the club meeting on Tuesday. Things have just been so crazy on this end, crazy busy, and work's insane, and keeping me very busy. But hope to get back out to a club meeting soon. But fortunately, you know, if any of you gals are interested in that topic, the NFARL, North Fulton Amateur Radio League, does have a YouTube channel, and they post a lot of the club meeting presentation recordings up there. There's a lot of great topics, so you gals can poke around there if you're looking for some cool content and stuff to learn and check out. That's awesome. Let's go to Maureen real quick, because I know she's going in for surgery here soon, and Maureen, would you like to come in and say hi to the gals real quick, and then we'll wrap this up. The VE3MIO AC4YL with the group.
AC4YL, VE3 Mike India Oscar. Thank you, Catherine. Yes, I'm going into the hospital on the 26th. I'm getting a brand new knee. My grandson said to me, Gran, why are you getting a new knee? I told him I'm going to run the Boston Marathon or run with Sherry Fox. And he said, oh, okay. He says, can I run with you? So, you know, he's only, 7 years old, so I guess whatever. Other than that, yes, I've done a little bit of DXing, and right now I'm into DX Lab. I have that on my computer, and I do single sideband on that, but I can 20, 40, 80, and whatever else might happen. I just changed antennas here. I have two antennas. I have a 600, which is a mag mount, and it's on a railing out here on the second floor where I am. And then I have my long wire, so I can do some bands with the long wire, and the other ones I just switch over to, I call it my 2-meter antenna. But if that's the case, I've got 3 of them, but we won't tell anybody that. Other than that, nice to hear everybody in, quite informative. And thanks to Carol for giving me a quick buzz on Facebook there. I was busy doing my daughter's wedding pictures, and then I went over to Facebook to see if anybody else was on there, but lo and behold, that's where she caught me. So I won't be in for a while, but after the 26th, I don't know how much, or after the surgery, I don't know how much I'm going to be able to get to walk around and come into the shack here, but we'll have to give it a try. Thanks, Catherine, and everybody take care. Shirley, I'll stick around and maybe I can grab you just before I shut this thing down. It's nice to hear all the girls. Very, very nice indeed. AC4YL, thank you, Catherine. VE3, Mike India Oscar, I'll be QRT.
All right, fantastic, Maureen. Well, it is so great to have you here, and so glad we were able to get you in here to say hi, and hope all goes well with the surgery, and we hope to hear you on here again real soon, and you can let us know how you're doing, and we'd love to hear back from you again very soon. Okay, Kathy, as far as timing goes, if you're on Echolink on a computer, you go to Tools, and you go to Setup. There's a Timing tab, okay? Tools, Setup, Timing tab. The second one down is Transmit Time Limit. Set it to 150 seconds. When you get close to that, about, I think it's 15 seconds before you hit that mark, Echolink will kind of beep at you in your ear and put on your screen, time limit, and it's counting down to let you know when you're going to time out. So that's how you can set your timing if you're on a computer, to make sure that you don't time out any repeaters that are connected here to this link. So very good. Well, gals, boy, man, time just flew tonight. I'm sorry we didn't get to everyone. Please come back next week, and we'll catch up with you then. Please hang around if you'd like to work Shirley on the VI5 Marconi call sign, special event call sign, and get that QSL card. We'd like to take a minute to remind everybody, please post to our WildOpNet Facebook group to continue net topics and questions there in between weekly nets. You can also post anything ham radio related, including questions, etc., in our WildOpGroups.io group page. We'd like to thank Lauren, KC9ZHV, for live streaming and recording of this net whenever possible and making it available to all through YouTube. We'd also like to thank Alara for the use of this Echolink conference node, North Fulton Amateur Radio League for their Dewdrop-In chat room, and all who are linked in listening, OMs and YLs alike, for your ongoing support of this net. This is Catherine, AC4YL, closing out the WildOpNet, returning the Alara Conference notes to normal use. 33 ladies. See you next week, and hang around and work Shirley. Take care, everybody.